Ah yes, the FPS genre. Man, this is the OG of gaming. Old titles like Doom, Quake, Duke Nukem were groundbreaking for their time. Yet lately, the genre is really suffering. It feels like the originality has gone out of the window. All we keep getting are the annual releases of Call of Dumbass, the potential Far Cry game, which is just the same thing over and over again, the disappointment that is the new Battlefield, and yet people are still looking for that new FPS game that will be that diamond in the rough, that will break the monotony that we are currently experiencing and give us that feeling while we sit on the edge of our seat as we try to shoot anything that moves around us. This was the sensation I felt when the developer Buckshot Software brought us all the way back in 2018 Project Warlock, and I was thrilled when I learned that there will be a sequel. And here we are, with the release of an early access to Project Warlock 2. And so here I am telling you if the game is worth the money in its current status. And as per usual, in order for me to do this, I will have to cover a couple of bases. So let's start off with the first one, the story. So the story follows warlocks, a mystical group of people who travel through universe and time looking for wisdom and power, and anything that stands in their way gets a shotgun blast to the face. That is pretty much it about the story. You do not need 8 seasons of Game of Thrones at the end where you end up being disappointed. You are one of the apprentices of a master who went on a crusade, and one day you wake up in a castle which is under attack. Loadout. So this is going to be what you will be doing throughout your adventure. Currently you are able to only choose one warlock, and that means you will be able to access only specific loadout such as sword, machine gun, shotgun, cannon, and a magical staff. Each of these weapons will be able to be upgraded, same as in the original game, which means if you choose one of the upgrades, you are stuck with it for the rest of your playthrough. And I can tell you that the same thing as in the original game will happen, as you will find a preference from the 2 options and you will primarily stick with that one. And the great thing is that you are even able to upgrade the weapon further. However, I have to warn you that certain weapons might benefit from being able to be upgraded twice, such as when you upgrade the rifle to your laser rifle, then further down getting it to be a railgun, allowing you to headshot a bunch of enemies using one shot only. But then there will be certain upgrades such as the lightning staff for your magical staff, and the second upgrade will completely ruin your experience as the accuracy will be completely all over the damn place. So you will at least have opportunity through your replays to find out which loadout works the best way for you, which will eventually enhance the overall replay value, but I'm quite sure that people will still stick to loadout which they know works for them and they can rely on. Combat. Now besides all the shooting you will be doing, you will be also using your magic as well, as you are a warlock, not just some gun hoarding maniac. This means you will be able to change the way you engage the enemies, as they will often flank you or swarm your position, meaning your spells will become a key part of the gameplay, as you will be able to freeze the enemies if they get too close and swarm you, or you will be able to magically manifest a second weapon using the akimbo to hold 2 shotguns or 2 machine guns, shooting anything that gets too damn close. Besides that, the combat feels really fluid with few occasional setbacks due to the game's early access. Now this will be important as not all enemies are the same, and they choose to attack you either from distance or from up close. Which brings us to the next point, the enemies. Here I am a little bit disappointed as the original game was sure, reusing some of the enemy types depending on the settings. So let's say in the initial zone you were fighting bats, and as you transitioned through those different regions, those bats changed shapes, but at least it gave you the feeling like you are battling different types of enemies. Here, that feeling really does not happen, as you will be facing the same enemies, from ghouls to skeletons to succubus to all these oversized weirdos, and they will be sure slowly being added into the roster of the enemies, but it will be still the same freaking enemies, which is kind of disappointing. So I would really appreciate if I'm traveling through different regions to see different enemies. It really lacks something little extra to keep me excited to shoot ahead of something that I see in the distance, and then I realize it's still a ghoul, it's still a succubus, or some spider, or something which I have killed 10,000 times already. Aesthetics and looks. Now, the original game was no Doom Eternal, but it was a solid experience. Here the studio is going for a bigger, faster, bolder game, but it often feels like more details have gone into the surrounding area or setting up the overall atmosphere rather than the details for the enemies, as they still have this 2D poster look to them while facing you, but they just do not look as good, especially the smaller enemies like the ghouls or the succubi, which you will come across quite frequently, and I feel that the details on the textures should really be cranked up in order to make those enemies shine a little bit more. And I'm not talking about shining from all the bullet holes that they will have from all your weapons. Audio. Okay, now overall the game looks and plays really good. And there's no secret, I still want the original game's soundtrack to be added to Steam Store so I can buy it. And here the studio goes again, making a great soundtrack for the game, enhancing the overall experience. And I really hope this will be part of the Steam Store, as it really kicks ass. Think of Doom Eternal soundtrack, but more like on an indie studio level. Bugs. So yeah, they do exist. They are small, but they do exist. And I do need to point these out because they do affect the decision making if you will decide to go or skip the game. So first bug many of you might experience is bound to the game's overall mechanics. You go and collect a key or press a button to unlock some door. This is an automated trigger to spawn in a bunch of enemies, and well, unfortunately some of them might spawn in the terrain. Now this might not be the worst thing ever when you see their head popping in through the concrete or through the wall, but unfortunately from time to time they will be able to shoot and even damage you, so you need to be wary about their positioning, as they might actually deal some serious damage. Collision. So this is a little trickier to be explained, but imagine you're going through a room and there's a bunch of crap hanging from the ceiling. Imagine chain links or some candelabra or something. If you try to shoot, for example, projectiles like grenades, you have to keep in mind that these designs are usually bordered up by an invisible wall. And this invisible wall might trigger that the ammunition will explode or will pass through. And if you are using especially explosive ammunition, you might end up dying due to the close radius of the explosion. I came across especially a problematic place where there was a mini boss battle in this tight corner, and due to overall stuff which was in the room, like the chain links, it created lots of issues with the collisioning, and therefore not all the ammo was able to hit the target, and it took me like 10,000 replays in order to try and get the one sequence done, and so just keep this in mind, it might happen. Also, regards to the collisions, because you are now working with much larger maps, as in the previous title, it did rely on the system of maze to keep you playing and keep looking for those secrets and try to find the way through. Here, because you will be going through, let's say, a castle which has multiple floors. Let's say you are at the bottom floor. If you will be eventually going through the first floor, what might happen is that the floor may collapse underneath you, dropping you down into some trap. The problem is that this floor, which will be collapsing, might be actually picked up below already as if it was there. So sometimes when you are trying to hug the walls, trying to look for secrets, or just moving through the place, you will get stuck on this invisible object which will prevent you to move around or dodge an enemy projectile that might end up getting you killed. So these are the major bugs I came across. I never came across anything that would really negatively experience the game. If you get killed, you just reload your save file and you just kill a bunch of stuff from a couple of seconds ago and you just keep on going. But I never came across major game crashes or any other hiccups which would negatively affect the overall experience. Which brings us to the verdict. Overall, the game provides a lot of fun and confusion, and trust me, you will get lost in these massive maps. However, the experience does not feel to be that long currently, or big enough, and with only one Warlock being currently available with one type of loadout for now, you will not have that many variations. You will have fun, but only with the content now available, which leaves the choice up to you if it's enough for you or not. And we are not talking about even 5 hours of gameplay for the current campaign that is available, or the current missions which are available for you to experience. So considering the fact that you have only a specific loadout which you can tinker with, and you have only specific missions available, you will have to consider your options. The game is currently even available with a discount of 10%, and my overall verdict is 8 out of 10, as the game is really fun, but I have to admit that I would suggest for you to either only get the game currently with the discount, or preferably wait for further updates so you get larger experience with the game. Trust me, it will be definitely worth it. It might also eventually be able to answer the question, can you beat Project Warlock using only magic? So if anyone can tell Mitten Squad about this, because I would really not like to do something to mess with someone else's livelihood, but I have been contemplating about this idea for a long time. Trust me, it might be fun and it might be a possibility. But considering the fact that it takes a crap ton of time for you to just get the magical staff with the Warlock currently available, I do wonder if one of the Warlocks would only qualify or prioritize magic use. That might be really lots of fun, and I would really love to see that. And I would really love to hear your feedback on what you think about Project Warlock. And if you want to know what other games in early access I have reviewed, check out the playlist, or hell, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, as I publish content as much as I can as of late. My schedule has been kind of hectic, but I'm trying my best. Other than that, I'm gonna wish you a pleasant rest of the day, and hopefully I will see you all at the next one. Thank you all for watching, and bye-bye for now.